Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Sheila, the host of SSNU, and I have a fabulous guest. I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your first name.
Avital.
Avital.
Yes.
Fabulous guest, Avital. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a passionate advocate for holistic health and wellness. She specializes in sacred plant medicines like cannabis and mushrooms. And I'm going to let her tell you so much about herself. It is so interesting. I'm telling you. So take it away, my dear.
Thank you,
Introduce
Sheila.
yourself. You're welcome.
Very grateful to be here today and excited to just share more about who I am, my story, and be able to help more people on this journey. My name's Avital. I produce events and retreats in the holistic health and plant medicine space. My mission here is to help millions of people on their healing journey through events and retreats. And my story actually started when I was a child and I struggled a lot with my physical health. I was diagnosed with Crohn's at age 13, went through the Western medicine system for about 10 years, had all the medications under the roof, had multiple surgeries, kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then one day back in 2016, I decided to stop all Western medicine and go on a holistic healing journey. No idea what this meant or what I had to do, but I just dove into learning all about how to heal yourself. I knew there had to be a better way because what Western medicine was doing was not working. They were never addressing the root cause of the problem, just suppressing the symptoms. And, they condition you to believe that you're always going to be sick for the rest of your life so that they can profit off of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I never believed this. There's this intuitive pull within me that always felt like there has to be a better way. And there was. So I started learning about diet and lifestyle and mindset and how important these things were and started changing those habits. And I started getting better, but I was never really consistent. And it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
until 2020 when things really shifted for me. I was living in New York at that time. It was all during the COVID era, and I was working for corporate America. I was doing sales. It was very stressful, and when we had to work from home at that point, it was an opportunity for me to finally slow down and go inward and just see what areas are out of alignment because at that point I was so stressed out, so burnt out, I was exhausted. I started getting more sick and I just was not in a good place. So I actually started praying, which I never prayed before, but there's something in me that I was just like asking God, please like guide me, show me. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And one thing led to another and the Institute of Integrative Nutrition started popping up for me. And I looked into it and was like, wow, like I didn't realize you could go to school for what I've been learning on Google for the past couple years and actually make a career out of it. I never really knew what I wanted to do. I just did work that I made good money in, such as sales. But obviously, like with the with being in sales, it's very stressful and I just was not taking care of myself. So I got physically, emotionally, and spiritually sick. So during this time, I decided to go back to school, study holistic health so I can go deeper on my own journey and then be able to share it with others and help other people in their healing journey. So I started my practice and I started working one on one with clients all over the world, helping them with their diet, their lifestyle, and their mindset. After a year, I decided to leave corporate America and go all in my business. And around that time, I started working with psychedelic medicine. I had connected to a plant medicine woman, and funny story actually, she had reached out to me on Facebook, sent me a message, and said, "Hey, I'm your sixth generation cousin. I found you on 23andMe." I'm like, who the fuck is this random lady that is messaging me and saying she's my cousin? So I looked on 23andMe, and yeah, we are related. So she was living in New Jersey, I was living in New York, and we We met up, got to know each other, and she was a plant medicine woman, a spiritual guide and mentor, and that's really what I needed at that time. And it's funny because I was working with a therapist at that time, and 2 days before I had met the plant medicine woman, my therapist said she suggested I should sit with psychedelic mushrooms,
Mhm.
which is really interesting at that time, right? It wasn't something that I was very familiar with. I didn't really have much experience in it. I took like a microdose when I was 18, but didn't really feel much. I have smoked weed all my life since my teenage years, but never with mushrooms. So this was a really new experience, and I wasn't very open at that time. And I will say my first experience was not as profound as the other experiences, just because my pineal gland was blocked. I was not open and receptive to the medicine at that point,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I received enough insights and messages that things started turning, and I just saw the areas in my life that were out of alignment and I started making shifts. So I left my corporate job. I decided to come back home to Houston, which is where I grew up. My friends and family are here. I got a divorce. The relationship was out of alignment too. So a lot of things changed.
Mhm.
And when I uh, came back to Houston, I started incorporating plant medicine into my one on one clients and I started creating events in that space as well. I was really feeling called to create a community where people can come connect with like minded people and have safe spaces to experience plant medicine. So, one of my popular events that I did was called Paint and Puff. So essentially, you combine art and cannabis, and you have a artist that will guide you in that immersive experience. You get to enjoy cannabis and functional mushroom infused mocktails, connect with like minded people, and it's BYOP. So bring your own plants. And so people could enjoy whatever plant medicine they feel called to enjoy, and be able to express their creativity, process emotions, and just create a very beautiful artistic piece. So it was very successful, a lot of fun, and it was just a beautiful experience to be able to build this amazing community and make a lot of new friends while having fun and healing at the same time, right?
Mhm.
So fast forward to today, I still work with some one-on-one clients, but I'm really focusing on creating more events and retreats in the holistic health and plant medicine space. So I feel very passionate about just creating these spaces and bringing people together. And this is the way that I can make the biggest impact is by working with all these other facilitators, whether it's yoga, sound bath, plant medicine, and really supporting them in creating these spaces because that's my background is creating events. That's what I'm really good at. So, yeah, it's recognizing where your zone of genius, where your magic really lies, right? And this is where I can make the most impact by taking what I'm good at and being able to create just these beautiful experiences for people to do some deep healing.
Wow. Now, you dropped a couple nuggets there that I want to say. First, I have to ask, what is microdosing? What is that?
Yeah, so microdosing is taking a subperceptual amount of typically a psychedelic or a plant medicines. What I'm referencing to is psychedelic mushrooms. So taking a
Okay.
microdose of that, and you can take it on a day to day basis. So it won't make you trip or hallucinate. It will just help you feel more present, more focused, more in the moment, not so anxious or depressed. It will help elevate your mood and it also will literally help you rewire your brain because what it does is it slows your mind down a little bit because we're going 24/7. We're rushing around, very busy. We don't really take time to slow down. And with this medicine, it's so beautiful that it allows you to be more aware, more conscious of the habits, of the beliefs, of the mindsets that are popping up because most of the time we don't even recognize it, right? We're just so used
Mhm.
to being on this automated system that we don't think and reflect. And so with this medicine, it just gives you that opportunity to pause and reflect. Okay, like I'm feeling anxious. Why am I feeling anxious? Getting curious. What do I
Mhm.
need to help myself move through it? Right. So it's a very beautiful medicine. And I've been able to help so many people with learning how to microdose for better health, mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual.
Mhm. And another thing, you took such a leap of faith. I mean, you left your corporate job where I'm sure you that was your, your foundation, I would say, like your bread and butter. And you took a leap of faith that was within you and you followed that voice that was in you and say, "Hey, I'm going to do this." And that right there is commendable. And look at you now, you're happier. You had a total transformational shift. Probably back, probably when you look back was like, how did I even do all that?
Oh, it was one of the scariest decisions I ever made. It was so
Uh-huh.
scary, like, talk about, feeling fear, that
Yeah.
was definitely a lot of fear because, you know, when you work for someone, when you work in corporate America, work for a company, you have that security, you have that safety, right? So it
Mhm.
was really scary, but yeah, I just had this calling and I didn't want to work for anyone else ever again. I just had a really bad experience in corporate. I didn't say I had a really bad experience, but my eyes started opening up and I saw how we're, you know, being treated in this matrix, then
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like, nah, I
Yeah.
value freedom. I value my freedom and at that time, especially once I started doing some deep healing, connecting spiritually, I realized I I've always wanted to have my own business and I've always been an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
So it was just taking that leap of faith and going all in. And I'm glad I
Especially
did.
when you had the Crohn's,
Mhm.
because here you're looking at medical insurance and, so that is truly, truly commendable. And not to mention, your other person that you were involved with at the time, how did he take that? Did he take it well or did he was like, okay, yeah, we needed to go our separate ways. You're growing
Well,
at a different rate.
we got a divorce for a reason.
Understood.
It seemed like he was supportive, but only when I was making money because I was the
Right.
provider, I was the breadwinner. He was in school during that whole time, and I knew the plan when I met him.
Mhm.
During that time, I realized that this was out of alignment, and
Mhm.
I wanted something different. We're in different places in our lives. I started doing a lot of spiritual work and evolving very quickly, and he just kind of stayed the same. So we just grew
Yeah.
apart, you know.
Yep. And
But
that happens to a lot of people, especially men or women that grow spiritually. The other partner may not come up, and they're not ready yet.
yeah, yeah,
So
and
it's
that's
not like,
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
it was a
exactly. It is
great learning
perfectly fine.
experience. I learned a lot. But now one of the biggest lessons I learned is how important the polarities need to be in a partnership,
Mhm. Mhm.
specifically in a male female dynamic. I've learned how important it is for the man to be in his healthy masculine, the female to be in her healthy feminine, because that is really what drove us apart. Is I was in my heavy masculine energy, and I
Mhm.
never felt safe. I was always
Mhm.
hustling, and it's so important for women to be able to feel safe and supported and be able to receive, right? I was always giving,
Mhm.
giving, giving, and then I burnt out,
Mhm.
and all ends. So, yeah, I've done a lot of work around healing the feminine, and now, I feel amazing. Like, of course, it's all about learning how to balance those energies. Everybody has masculine and feminine energies. And like in my work, especially when it comes to planning, organizing, marketing events and retreats, it's a lot of masculine energy involved, right? The planning and organizing piece, strategy, but also having space in my days to be in a state of flow, to have moments of creativity, right? Because those are very important as well when you are running a business. And that's actually
Mhm.
something that I'm getting more into is helping more business owners, entrepreneurs in the health and wellness and plant medicine space to be able to support them. Because I've learned a lot about how to run a successful holistic health and plant medicine practice and have been able to help so many people all over the world. So it's been very, very purposeful work. and fulfilling. And now I get to, help more people by helping these facilitators.
So tell me, what does an average day for you look like being a holistic healer and all the modalities that you have resources to? What does that person need? Or just an example, when a person comes to you, what are that exactly possibly what they're looking for that you may be able to help with?
Yeah, sure. Well, when I was really focusing on my holistic health practice, like I said, right now for the past couple years, focusing more on creating more events and retreats and helping other
Mhm.
facilitators. But
Mhm.
for someone that is looking to work with someone in the holistic health space, plant medicine space, I would always suggest start with the foundation, start with the basics. Work on your
Mhm.
diet, your lifestyle mindset, but also just taking a holistic approach, right? Because it's not just about the food on your plate, but it's everything else. But I will
Mhm.
say some of these, habits that we have, just some small shifts, small changes can make such a big difference. For example, not checking your phone first 30 minutes of the day, right?
Mhm.
From
Mhm.
from waking up, the first 30 minutes is that moment where you're still in theta stage. You're still very just kind of in that sleepy state, trying to wake up. And so, whatever information comes your way during the first 30 minutes is really going to set the tone for your entire day. So, even making
Mhm.
small changes like that, or just eating more fruits and veggies, right? Having a spiritual practice, right? Connecting to a higher power, moving your body, just such simple things that people don't realize can make such a huge difference, and not just on your physical health, but your mental and spiritual health as well.
Mhm. And your first party? That was ingenious. I mean, how did you come up with that? That was ingenious. I would have went to that. Now
Yeah.
I've never done that, but I would have loved to just see. I mean, where'd you come up with that? That has to have been divine and an invention right there.
It was not my idea initially.
Mhm.
I had a business partner at that time, and they were doing the events out in New York and New Jersey, and, I was like, "Hey, I'll put on the events here in Houston." So,
Mhm.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I actually have one coming up. I haven't done one in, like, 2 years.
Okay.
My next one in Houston is going to be on October 11th, in Houston, Texas, in the Montrose area from 2 to 5 p.m. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna have an artist to guide people in that immersive paint experience. You can connect with like-minded people, enjoy
Mhm.
cannabis and functional mushroom drinks, mocktails, and BYOP, bring your own plant.
Mm. Hey, I really like that.
Yeah.
That is really, really ingenious. And for those businesses that you contact, how do you begin to explain what your niche is to them so they can understand it, so they can be like, "Oh yeah, my people do need that to relax and to, you know, get out of their own way."
Are you referring to, like, the paint and plant magic events, or?
Just your retreats that you want to
Oh,
have
sure.
for or yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just varies the different types of events. Like I am planning a retreat in a couple months. That all the details are coming together, but essentially it's going to include yoga and sound bath, meditation, cacao. And it is a retreat type experience, either one day or overnight experience. And it's really for people that are wanting to get away from the city, get out in nature, connect back to themselves, connect with others that are also on this journey, and be able to just really receive the medicine, whether it's again yoga, sound bath, plant medicine. So, anyone that's really just looking to recharge, reset, to awaken parts of themselves, to remember parts of themselves. Everyone has a very different experience. But when you're called to do this medicine, you will feel it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I do know a couple people here recently because it seems like plant medicine here in the last couple years has really come to the forefront as far as people want to break through to their higher consciousness, their higher selves.
Yeah.
So I have heard a lot about plant medicine and what exactly it helps with. Could you give like a detail of what a person possibly goes through when they actually do take the plant medicine, or how do you I'm a beginner, so how would you start me out to
Yeah.
go? Yeah.
Typically anyone that is wanting to experience, let's say mushrooms, right?
Mhm.
Usually where most people start,
Mhm.
um, kind of like beginner stage, because there's different plant medicines which I've been exploring with more lately,
Mhm.
and very different experiences. You have cannabis, you have mushrooms, you have DMT, you have Bufo, you have combo, you have ayahuasca. So different levels depending on like how ready you are and where you are in your life and experience with plant medicine. So mushrooms is definitely the first one I would suggest if you haven't already tried like cannabis, right? So you have micro and macro dosing. So microdosing, like I mentioned, it's a sub-perceptual amount, a very small amount that you can take on a day-to-day basis. And for someone that just wants to experience it, most people I suggest start with a microdose, just so you can
Mhm.
start connecting with the medicine, understanding how it makes you feel. And again, it's not going to make you trip or hallucinate. It's perfect for day-to-day use. I have a lot of clients that were able to get off of pharmaceutical medications for like anxiety, depression, ADHD, OCD, bipolar,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
if you're having any mental health issues, microdosing is such a beautiful medicine. Like it can literally change your life where you don't have
Mhm.
to depend on pharmaceuticals and suppress, because that's the problem with pharmaceutical medications is that they suppress your emotions when in reality, like these emotions are symptoms of
Mhm.
something being out of balance in your mind and body or soul, right? And
Mhm.
so it's so important for people to feel what they need to feel. Otherwise, they start feeling depressed and anxious because we're suppressing. We're taught,
Mhm.
especially here in America, like we're taught just suppress, either pop this
Mhm.
pill, drink alcohol, numb out with food, sex, drugs,
Mhm.
TV, whatever, right? So there's so many things that are distracting us from our true self. So microdosing is a beautiful way to reconnect back to your truth. And for me personally, it helped me with being consistent with my habits because I just feel so deeply connected to myself that I know exactly what I need. I know that when I start feeling
Mhm.
anxious, I get curious and I figure out what is it that I need in this moment. And that's what this medicine helps you do. It just allows you to slow down, be more aware, more conscious, more connected, not so dissociated as many of us are, right? Now, on a
Mhm.
macro
Mhm.
level, very different. So, macro dose of mushrooms, you're going to be taking typically around 3 to 5 grams. That's what's considered a
Mhm.
macrodose. There's some people that they will take more. I don't recommend it. I believe that the people that end up taking more than 5 grams, it's because they're blocked. Their pineal gland is blocked, um, which is preventing them from fully receiving the medicine. Like you don't need that much. 3 to 5 grams is good.
Mhm.
I've had profound experiences on 1 gram, you know? It's just how open and ready you are to receive. Set and setting is so important because you are essentially tripping, hallucinating. It's best to be in a safe container, especially your first couple times to be guided by a professional. So
Mhm.
you have someone that can support you. Because what this medicine does is it gives you 4 to 6 hours typically to be in the same space, to feel what you need to feel and process the things that need to be processed that we've been suppressing for so long. So it's
Mhm.
this safe container that allows like all your demons to come up, and you'll receive these beautiful messages and insights from God, universe, source energy, whatever you resonate with, and get clarity. Get clarity on, what no longer serves you and, the areas of your life that needs to be shifted. And it just gives you that perspective. It gives you those
Mhm.
insights, those messages that, all along you knew internally, like, we all know what we need to do, but we
Yes.
forget, right? So this medicine helps you remember who you are and helps you step into your power and to let go of the things that no longer serve you to make space for what that does. For me personally, it helped me be able to process years and years of unprocessed trauma, unresolved trauma, from childhood and not just from my lifetime, but also generations worth, right? Because we
Mhm.
carry generational trauma as well. So, I do believe I was put here on earth to transmute all of that trauma and be able to process it and help share what I've learned with others to help others on their healing journey. So it's been a very beautiful experience. It helped me process grief and loss from, my grandma that passed when I was 7, because I never
Mhm.
got to process that for like decades. So I just
Mhm.
suppressed everything because that's how I was taught to not feel. I have to be strong and tough and not feel anything. Otherwise, I'm a big baby. But no, that's so important to process and feel your emotions.
Mhm. Mhm. And then after the mushrooms, or then you, I don't say graduate, but if you go to the psychedelics after that, or
Yeah, so mushrooms are psychedelic.
okay.
I
See, you can tell I'm a newbie, I don't know.
Yeah, no, all good, all good. That's what we're here for. So I started working with Combo about a year ago. So Combo
Mhm.
is a type of frog from the Amazon
Mhm.
that the poison is put into your body through what's called opening gates. So like they'll burn like 3 to 6 holes on your arm or your back, just enough to open up so that the poison from this frog can go into your lymphatic system, into your bloodstream. And so, what
Mhm.
this medicine does is combo the frog poison has all these peptides that get flushed into your body that help support your immune system to flush out any toxins. So, for people
Mhm.
that are dealing with like parasites, bacteria, mold, heavy metals, right? And so you if you live in America, you probably are dealing with some of these, but we don't even
Mhm.
realize it, right? So many people have all these physical symptoms like brain fog, digestive issues, fatigue, and a lot of it has to do with this toxic overload in our bodies. So combo is such a beautiful medicine. It's like a natural antibiotic that can help flush all that shit out. Some people need more sessions than others, and it's a very uncomfortable experience, especially like your first time, because you are essentially throwing up and shitting out all the gunk.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is not for, you know, you have to be ready to receive this medicine because it can be a little tough at moments of purging.
It definitely detoxes you and cleans you out.
Yes. Yes. And then I started working with Bufo. I sat with Bufo for my first time a couple weeks ago and wow, what a beautiful experience. So
Mhm.
Bufo is also an amphibian medicine. It's
Mhm.
toad that has DMT in it. So DMT is known as the God molecule. It's that chemical is released when we are born and we enter into this world and we see life. And that
Mhm.
chemical is released when we die, when we see, our whole life flash before our eyes. And it also is released in our dreams. You can also sit with a plant medicine because DMT is in every living organism, plants, animals, humans. And so this specific DMT is from the Bufo toad. It's a very different experience. I wouldn't call it is considered psychedelic, but for my own personal experience, it was not psychedelic in nature where I was hallucinating or tripping out. It was more of I felt all the stress, all the tension, all the trapped energy and emotion just completely leave my body. And I felt so much peace. I felt so relaxed and I could finally breathe. I was carrying a lot of stress and tension, and I didn't realize like how much until I sat with this medicine and all of it just went away. And it was a very short experience, like 20 minutes. And then we were like outside by the water. And I just felt such deep appreciation and gratitude for being able to exist in this reality and all the beautiful things that we have here on earth. And things really shifted for me since then. Just big shifts, things that are no longer meant for me completely left my life and it made space for the things that are. yeah, I feel very grateful. I feel very connected and present and
Mhm.
just at peace.
Wow. That is lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. How often do
Mhm.
you or how often do people take it? Do you take it every day or do you take it every 2 weeks or once a month? How what are
Yeah.
the
So something like combo Bufo or sitting with a macrodose of mushrooms, it is not a day-to-day thing. It really requires taking a whole day and even a couple days off after that so that you can
Mhm.
sit with it intentionally when you're using it for healing purposes. Now,
Mhm.
microdose can be taken on a regular basis. There's different types of protocols. You can take it like 4 days on, 3 days off, or every other day, or more intuitively. I currently microdose on an intuitive basis. So, I
Mhm.
wake up, connect, see how I feel. What does my day look like? If I feel like, it's going to be a stressful day, if I'm feeling a little anxious, I'll take a microdose and it just helps ground me. It helps me feel
Mhm.
more centered and connected and at peace.
Okay. Okay. And how do people get those? How do you come do you purchase them? Do you have to go to a I don't know,
So
the
it depends on where you live. In some places
Mhm.
it's legal, in some places it's not. So
Mhm.
it's just being mindful of, the local laws but of course with any medicine, like there are people out there that can provide that.
Mhm.
And, it's still, especially mushrooms, like you can grow them yourself, which is
Mhm.
legal. You can grow them at home by yourself. But in some states, you cannot sell or distribute it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, have I learned a lot today. So what's the difference between well, ayahuasca, is that the same as plant medicine?
So, yeah, it's considered a plant medicine, like grandma of all plant medicines. I have yet to
Mhm.
sit with ayahuasca. I feel a little called, but I'm not ready. You have to be like really ready for it because it's a 9 to 12-hour experience from what I understand.
Really?
And it can be very intense, very psychedelic in nature, as well as per- very purgative. I don't know if that's the word to use, but you can
Mhm.
purge as well. Yeah, it's not for the weak, and I don't feel like I'm ready yet. But many people have had beautiful experiences. Some people have completely changed their lives from it. Yeah,
There's just so much out there that you can learn and experiment with. You just have to make sure that you have the right person that you are, comfortable with doing that with.
yeah, absolutely. So important to feel safe. Um, and protected, especially in the plant medicine space because you are opening up your energetic field and it
Mhm.
can allow other entities to enter when you're in that vulnerable state. So it's so important to have someone that you trust, that you feel safe with, to guide you, to support you, especially when uncomfortable emotions or sensations come up. And that's
Mhm.
very common, especially when you're sitting with a psychedelic medicine, because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant for those demons to come up. It's meant for like the deep trauma to come up, things that you've pushed down, suppressed for many years. It's an opportunity, a safe container for you to work through those things.
Mhm.
And so many people don't realize how their past traumas are affecting how they show up today, whether it's how they take care of themselves, how they show up in their work, their relationships, their relationship with money, just how they experience life. So it's so important to take time to work through those traumas, those limiting beliefs, to rewire subconscious. And that's what these medicines help do at the core, because it helps address the root cause of why we are the way that we are and helps us shift into evolving and becoming the version of us that we're truly meant to be, and like dissolving the ego, dissolving the conditioning of who we were told we're supposed to be. So it can be such a beautiful medicine. And of course, there's other ways to get there. Plant medicine is not the only way. There's
Mhm.
other modalities, but plant medicine is like direct, source to source.
Wow, interesting. Very, very interesting. I have learned a lot today. Yeah, I have really learned a lot today. And I forgot the question that I was going to ask you just that quick. It just went out of my head just now.
Have you ever experienced any type of plant medicine?
Mm-mm. Nope. So I would be a total like that's why I'm asking, like, is that the same thing or how do
You
you
know,
do that?
I think in Virginia and DC, I'm not sure about Virginia. DC, it's actually legal. Mushrooms and weed are legal. You can go into a
Mhm.
dispensary and get mushrooms, which is
Mm.
interesting because, DC is, the government.
Yeah,
So, but
exactly.
no, I was visiting family there. I went into a dispensary and it was real mushrooms in there, which was pretty cool.
Really? Now I would be kinda nervous since it would been my it would have well, since it will be or would be my first time as to how I would react to it. Like, you know, the most I drink is wine and a little bit of liquor here and there. Them lemon drops get me every time, but but those, I would be I don't know, 'cause, I guess I'm still programmed,
Hmm.
seeing those images on TV where people just wig out and running down the street
It
naked and
doesn't do
all
that.
that, so see?
It doesn't do that, but I always suggest your first couple times do it with people that you feel safe, that you trust, preferably with a professional. There's lots of
Mhm,
guides, plant medicine men, women, facilitators out there, especially it's a growing industry, especially in
mhm,
places like Colorado, California, Oregon, where
yes,
they're 100% legal and you can work with someone that specializes in it.
mhm.
And, there's people all over. I'm in Houston. I know some plant medicine facilitators here as well. So, I can definitely connect people with the right people to do this work. And of course,
Mhm.
I hold events and retreats where I provide a safe space for people to be able to experience it.
I would love to come to one, so, of course, I'm gonna keep up with you, so I'll know which ones you're
Awesome.
going to and which one I can go to. So is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience today? I know they learned a lot because I did. I'm sitting here like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I will say like this medicine, like if you're curious when, like if you're ready, the medicine will
Mhm,
call to you. Like you'll know. Like you'll start feeling a call to work with these medicines and just connect with once you start putting it out there, you'll start connecting with like-minded people. And it's so
mhm,
important to be able to talk through your experiences. With these experiences, this is actually one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is you can have a beautiful experience with plant medicine. You can receive all these beautiful insights and messages, but this is just the first step. What's the most important piece in your plant medicine journey is the integration. Is how do you take those insights and messages and actually create those new habits, beliefs, and mindsets and shift your reality, shift your habits, beliefs, and mindsets. So integration is really the most important piece because otherwise you just sit with the medicine, have this beautiful experience, and then if you don't do anything with it afterwards, it's kind of a waste of time. I mean, it's going to
mhm,
reveal, it's going to show you the parts of you that you need to heal. It will be that mirror for you. So now it's time
mhm.
to do the work.
And you made such a good point where you were talking about our ancestors and how we may carry their trauma. You don't even know you're carrying their trauma unless someone mentioned it, like that, and I was told I was here to break our our ancestral karma in my family, and which, so yeah, so that's another, nugget, ladies and
Hmm.
gentlemen. We have ancestral karma.
Yep,
Yes. So when you call on
absolutely.
your ancestors, when you're meditating, you call on your ancestors to be with you and guide you, you need to call on the ones for the highest good because you never know what's in that lineage way back, way back,
Hmm.
way.
Yep,
So you have been fabulous, and I thank you so much for coming. I
absolutely.
really do. And I will be in contact and tell people where they can find you if they want additional information.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Mushroom Muse with a Z. So that's Mushroom Muze on Instagram.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I thank you very much and bye for now.
Hi, Sheila. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.